Continuing here. So you understand the resistance toward full prosperity and the madness therein of not allowing full prosperity. That this is all by deliberation. This is a prison planet for all intents and purposes. You're born beholden to these money masters of misery, this cost of living tax. It's satanic power. It's wanton and vast power. The most powerful force in this world system. A satanic force. Like Jesus said, it's like a competing God. And we can't serve both God and money, mammon. That this is the root of all evil. That these people at the top would be out of luck. They'd be out of power. They'd be out of control. Okay? If the people were all prosperous. But the system would work fine. And nobody can prove me wrong. Okay? Nobody. That means that civilization would be 90% more civilized. Okay? If everybody was prosperous and free. And we were still serving each other. And there'd be a far lower work week. Okay? And work week, I mean, who comes up with these things anyhow? Who decides this 40-hour work week? It's all arbitrary and capricious at the hands of these monsters. Essentially, that's what they are. For all intents and purposes, they're monsters that are manipulating us. Okay, they do not want the people set free through prosperity. Okay, they don't want us secure. They want us in fear. They need people living in mortal fear of dying under a bridge. This is how they extract the exorbitant rents and mortgages. Do you understand? The resistance to affordable housing is intense. I pointed out all the agencies. Even the government itself would be opposed to it because their tax base would go down. It's truly evil. So all these people I pointed out that would be laid off, out of work, if we just ended desperate poverty, shouldn't have anything to worry about because they have the same entitlements, the same rights as everybody else, God-given ones. This earth is theirs too. So nobody is insecure ever. Nobody is living in fear. Nobody is arbitrarily having their freedom taken away. Okay? That's a reality we could have. So you're going to see that if we're doing jobs that are productive in creating things that we first and foremost need, right? Our essential human needs, food, shelter, clean water, energy needs. But also things we want. So if we were all employed in just doing those things, you could imagine our work week would be a lot lower. You could see how that would dry up traffic on the LA freeway or on the Bay Area freeways. People not going to those jobs anymore, not needing them. They're rendered irrelevant. So do you see the resistance too? I just trying to point these things out to you so you can see and think for yourself. And this idea that people wouldn't go to jobs if they weren't paid. They wouldn't go if they didn't need to. If everybody was, no, the system would break down. A lot of people would say that. How do you explain all the volunteers out there? How do you explain that? How do you explain what King Solomon said, who's said to be the wisest man in the world that ever lived? When he said that this is how you glean the greatest satisfaction and gratification and fulfillment from life. Okay, not only at your last days on earth, when you say, I'm glad I spent it giving of myself. But today, okay, that you're the one that's eating and drinking and you're more merry than the others. And you can rejoice that you've been appreciated, that you've been useful to your fellow human being. That's natural. That's instinct kicking in. So we have a godliness the system can't break down. But do you see how far apart we are from what we've all been trained to accept? They've normalized madness, essentially. That's it. And there's one area after another they've done this in. And it's all about the money. Everything's just revolves around controlling the money. This is how they control the masses. This is how they manipulate us. This is how they take us. They dupe us. Okay, all the division that they create it. You understand? They've got the Democrats and Republicans, like the Crips and the Bloods. They've even got the same colors, blue and the red. Okay, why can't we have orange and purple? Come on, let's do orange and purple. Okay? No, We're not going to do that. But still, the point is clear that these people, even though they want you to think that it's all about getting your people in, getting a majority in long enough, and they're going to fix the problems, your political bent, your socialist, so those guys get in long enough, they're going to fix the problems. And the other team will say the same thing. That no, it's about our way, and we got to, these other people are stupid. They don't know what they're talking about. And yet the trajectory, if you look on it on a graph, keeps going the same direction. How do you explain that? You tell me they're not collaborating and colluding together? What about the bailout of '08? They all worked together against the best interests of the American people. They knew that. They knew they bailed out the criminals. I mean, too big to fail? How is that American? And people talk about capitalism and free market. How was that free market? I mean, risk is one of the most fundamental principles of true capitalism. It's absent. A plunge protection team, what the hell is that? If people talk about capitalism, what the hell are you talking about? So when it comes to if you believe socialists are wrong and liberals are wrong in their methodology, then explain to them that crony capitalism also is very bad, that this is very bad. This is what's caused the wealth imbalance and the ever-increasing poverty and currency debasement. Okay, you've got to explain that. Or else you're just part of the problem. You're just causing more division. It's not healing. It's not getting any better unless we come together and explain we all have basically the same desires and wants. We all want creature comforts. We all want a lot of the very same things. So it doesn't matter. These are just names people bandy about. Democrat, Republican, conservative, liberal, socialist, capitalist. I mean, God, help us. Help us, God. I mean, I'm really scared for people. I really am. But I get it. At least, I can only get myself off this ship of fools. Okay, and physically I'm still stuck on it like everybody else, but I'm kicking and screaming and I'm on the ship of fools. But not without complaining and exposing the hell out of the evildoers that are causing all our problems. But you can get off it too, and in your heart and mind, and then help other people to see the light and get off it, to be 100% pure in heart. Say, yes, I am not at all, not 1/10 of 1% do I believe in inequality. Okay? Not 1/10 of one. Otherwise, I'm going to the same place as these elitist scumbags, these hypocrites, to the dungeons of hell. I've got to. I'm not going to be found worthy. If I love money and if I'm not willing to let it all go and say, God, let your will be done, if I can have full prosperity and freedom and security and everybody can have the same thing, nobody's got an advantage over another, nobody wants an advantage over another in this place, that's where I want to be. Then you're going to go. I believe firmly that you will be found worthy and deserving of getting that place. Okay, it's as simple as that. It's God's will. You're prescribing to the golden rule, the 10 commandments, all that. The law, like Jesus said, I didn't come to abolish the law. He was referring to the 10 commandments. I was coming to fulfill it, and he simplified it in so doing. Love God above all else, because that's the source of everything good. All the good things you have in your life, all your possessions, it was somebody else that made those things for you, right? How did you help? How did you contribute? Well, my money. Well, who gave you the people that created those things? It's God's. We're all God's property. So everything good comes from God, all the things we enjoy. So honor God above all else. That's the first new commandment that Jesus gave us. That's reasonable. That's logical. A child can get that. That you thank God for every breath in your lungs, your very existence, everything good you've ever experienced in your life. Everything. Do you understand? That's good. You can attribute and thank God for. Take full advantage of his grace, but don't take it for granted. And then the second commandment is like it. Just love one another. The same love that you feel from your parents, your divine parents, our owner, God Almighty, the Creator. You display that to other people. And you know what? I mean, you do that. You're living by the grace of God. And your works are going to be pure. The stuff you harbor in your heart and in your mind. The things, the words that come out of your mouth. And your behavior, your actions are all going to be good and approved from on high. And all the little stupid things that have tripped us up in life, they're going to go away. Those things aren't the matters of salvation. All the vices and methods of escapism that we find to anesthetize ourselves, this metaphorical, allegorical slashing of the wrists, self-flagellation, self-loathing. It causes all this stuff. I mean, this is what happens. We tend to personalize stuff. We think, oh, it's just us. We're weak. We're just not strong enough. We don't conform well enough to the establishment. And this is the source of our problem. So we blame ourselves when God knows the truth. So all those problems associated with that are gone. Okay, if you're a misfit, consider yourself very lucky if you don't fit into this current establishment. Because it's easier for you to understand where we're going, the world of tomorrow that God has laid out for us, and it's coming to earth. The meek, the righteous shall inherit the earth. Those whose hearts are pure and good, that are like little children in that respect, that they're innocent. Okay, there's no malice, there's no guile in their hearts. They just want to have fun and play. They want the same thing for you they want for themselves. They live by the golden rule. Automatically. It came naturally from God. And that's what he's calling on all of us. We can all tap into it. But it's frightening when you read a passage like the path to destruction is broad and many are those who enter upon it. And, you know, the path to salvation, to eternal life, and paradise is narrow. Enter by the narrow gate, we're told. I mean, isn't that a little bit ominous and foreboding, and that's alarming, and telling us, hey, snap out of it, man. Okay, get with the program. Get a pure heart. And only one can give that to you. Only one can save your life. I can't save anybody's life. I can't save my own life. My children can't save my life. My friends, my family. Nobody can save my life. Only God can do that. And it's the same for you or anybody else. So point to God, you know, as the famous one, the giver of all good things. Okay? And let's get it together, folks, because the time is short. I mean, you know, we really have squandered the grace he has given us over the years, and God is angry. Put yourself in God's shoes, and you've had to witness all this stuff, all your children that you love so much. And look at the ages, look at history, look what we have done to each other. Look where we're at. And you tell me that we're going to have to contend with money forever in perpetuity. And that's what we're being told. It's just the way it is. And that's, you know, that's common sense. That's pragmatic. That's logical. You got to get comfortable with this reality. So you're going to have to conform and comply. It's like, no, that's shoved down your throat from birth, and you just get used to it, and death and taxes, all that. But yeah, this is the way it is. I mean, it's insanity. I'm so removed from it. I just thank God so much that he has readied me as much as I am for a world of universal prosperity, universal freedom, universal security, the absence of any form of fear artificially imposed upon us. I am so looking for, and that's what I want you to do. And my life's not easy. I mean, I'm just like everybody else. Like I said, I've got a burden. I got a noose around my neck that keeps getting tighter, a nut that keeps getting harder and harder to crack, a bar that keeps getting harder and harder to reach. And I got to take it to the Lord in prayer, because we may not. Humans, I don't have any faith in the politicians. Okay, look, I have no political loyalty, Democrat, I could care less. Look at how I fawn over JFK, who was a Democrat. If Trump was a Democrat, I would have voted for him. If he called himself a liberal, I would say, I don't care. He's the only one that said he's ashamed of homelessness in America. The supposedly exemplification of a land of milk and honey. I'm utterly ashamed, absolutely. The immigration issue, where is Nancy Pelosi on that? Do you hear Nancy Pelosi talking about our own destitutely poor people and how it's incompassionate to not care about them first, and how that's not fair, that's unethical, it's immoral not to care about our own native sons and daughters first? And do this logically and in an orderly fashion. If we're going to let immigrants in, I mean, people want to call me a xenophobe or anything. I said, no. I'll let the whole world in, but we're going to do it in an orderly fashion. First come, first serve. No cutting in line. Okay, same with my party loyalty. I'll change my party loyalty like I'm changing my underwear. I give a crap. I just don't care. I don't care. I just don't care. I just want people that, if they call themselves a socialist, but really they prescribe to fiscally conservative, prudent ideas, okay, like buying people houses, just buy them houses. No more paying $50 billion a year to subsidize rich dad Robert Kiyosaki and his ilk. I mean, do you know how many landlords have gotten fabulously wealthy off that $50 billion a year that's poured into subsidizing housing costs for poor people? It's a social welfare program, right? Yank it. Yank it. They're talking about getting rid of food stamps, so they're not going to talk about getting rid of the Section 8. Let's get rid of it. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. No, we're not going to sustain, 3 or 4 million homeless Americans out there. And all these others, they're fine. They got the roof over their head, and at a cost. I mean, if you live in New York and the government through Section 8 is paying 90+% of your housing costs because you're on a minimum wage job, do you understand the wanton madness I'm pointing out here? I want everybody to understand.